What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review, and we have our final 8 for the Shurima Cup, and it's a pretty spicy final 8. JD, Michael, Pakigan, Me First or 8th, Chunnington, K3 Soju, Wasianiverson, and Quintanilla. Nice, we got the BR rep in Quintanilla, who had a great last set and is having a great set here as well. Got Soju in the final lobby. Again, he dominated all the tournaments last set, and he's continuing that dominance this set. Soju, honestly, this guy has been a beast last set and this set. And then some other really cool names up here. We've reviewed Michael yesterday. That was great. Paki as well. Wasianiverson, on that Mount Rushmore of TFT. And we are going to VOD review Wasianiverson today, mostly because he played a comp that was not really on my radar whatsoever going into this patch. I didn't really think to, play this comp at all until Wasian started playing it, a few other people started playing it, and yeah, I feel like we just must do a VOD review of this comp. So start off here with a Draven, a Sedge. I mean, all these units kind of fit. Sejuani, interesting these days. Before, decent Kog'Maw mods, not that amazing. Before, you were kind of like, I could play Sejuani into some kind of Freljord Ashe Tryndamere line. Obviously, Ashe Tryndamere, a much worse line these days, so probably not going to play for that. Do pick up the Quick Striker for our Draven here, and yeah, I mean, we get a Draven with a Guinsoo drop, so I do think we have great odds of just playing Draven stuff. Draven Fast 9. It's a good bit worse this patch after the nerfs to the Kindred, though, so maybe something we'll think about here. All right, first augment here. Clear Mind, Calculated Loss, Infinity Protection. I mean, we have a few econ options if we want it in the Clear Mind, which I don't really want to take a Clear Mind, honestly. The upside to Clear Mind is, I guess you could take this, slam Guinsoo onto Draven, and just have a good early game. I really wouldn't mind taking Combat here, just because we do have this cool Draven start, though. I don't really want to take Calc Loss with a pretty good opener like this. And the Infinity Force augment, I think, is very, very solid. It'd be interesting to see what we would play that into, and we do roll both here, looking at Infinity Force. We get the BT, which is not great, Pilfer, which is not great, and so yeah, we are going to grab Infinity Protection here. It means that we're not going to be able to play for as much of a win streak here, but we are still going to make our double slam Guinsoo's Rage play, throw the sword onto him, and play this opener here. So yeah, we're just going to chill a little bit with Infinity Protection. So what is the idea out of Wasianiverson? Well, I do think literally as early as 2-1, we have a good line into an AD bruiser type comp that didn't really exist prior to this patch, where you can play around stuff like Belveth, where you can play around stuff like Ambessa. These units, prior to this patch, you were really not excited to play around those guys whatsoever. And now, I mean, Ambessa received a pretty chunky buff. A lot of the other units that this comp would normally have trouble dealing with, stuff like, Diana and things like that, you now don't have to deal with because those comps don't exist in the meta. So it actually makes a lot of sense to play into this comp these days. Pick up the Twisted Fate, which is really important here so that we can start getting Bilge in, because that is another way to kind of cap out this board that we are going to be playing later. And we'll talk about it more as we get there, but Bilge is a nice way to get another piece of this board, which is the Gangplank, and eventually Gangplank 3 you can cap around in this comp, which is wild. It's so funny. You can play for every Bilge carry, which is maybe a sign of strength. The fact that you can play for TF3, you can play for Graves 3, you can play for the Gangplank 3, you can play for Alawi 3, you can play for your 4 costs. Like, you can play it all, which is great, but I mean, the downside maybe is that, maybe it's just because Bilge is a bit strong. So we'll see as we get there. 3 loss here right now, no wins, and no Bilge water yet. We haven't picked up the Alawi yet. We do see the GP off Carousel, which honestly, yeah, I love this take here. Not only is it a GP, it has an IE, which you could slam. I don't know that we are going to slam. I doubt that we're going to slam an IE because of some itemization stuff that I can talk about actually later as we get towards slam, but I don't think you really want to slam an IE in a spot like this. Going to grab the first ones free and hold the line on this okay-ish board. Not the world's best board. But yeah, we can look at this team planner that he has here. I'm going to have to jump back 30 seconds, though, because this player is kind of annoying. But we can actually look at the team planner that he has here, because it shows our game plan. So yeah, literally at 2-1 with Infinity Protection, he was like, this is going to be my line because the Infinity Force is going to be quite good into it. I'm going to be playing a lot of melee units. So yeah, this is... Let me pause. Yes. Okay. So this is the idea, is that we're going to play around Ambessa Belveth. You can duo carry these guys, and then you can trio carry with the Gangplank. So you can either, pick 2 out of 3 of these. Eventually, it's quite easy to hit Gangplank 3, and obviously Gangplank 3, a very nice bridge unit between these two for the Slayer and the Vanquisher here. Really easy to fit the Bilgewater here. I mean, you're always going to be playing stuff like Nautilus because it's so easy to fit Swain. We can play Scion to pair up everything nicely. I mean, we get a lot of traits in here, and the Kog'Maw is kind of a funny little addition here. You get Arcanist, and you get the Void. So a cool board, and yeah, just a very strong board, a very kind of surprisingly strong board, I would say, because once again, like, this comp, I don't think was really on anyone's radar until this patch. I think on PvE we played a little bit of this Slayer comp, and then it really kind of fell off a cliff, and it was never that amazing on PvE in the heyday of it. The heyday, if you'll call it that, because it was never like crazy good. It was always just like a fine comp. People would play towards stuff like Aatrox, but Aatrox has been pretty underwhelming this entire set, mostly because his item build to unlock him, the fact that you have to build double healing to unlock him, and he doesn't really love double healing, it just leads to very awkward itemization stuff. And himself, especially after he was broken, he was quite strong on like PvE, right, for like a minute, and then they nerfed him quite hard because they said, we don't want him to be broken, which, fair enough. Get the Scion here, which is an important unit to get early. Also goes to show why the Scion unit has such high priority in the early game. This is, as far as units that I'm happy to get out of a box, I talked about this in the last video, but TF number 1, if I could spawn in every game with a TF, I think, my AVP would be disgustingly high. And then Scion is the other one who I love getting out of box. You can play it in this comp, you can play it in AP stuff. You also saw we immediately slammed the QSS there. This is because QSS is honestly the most important item in this comp. If you want to be playing around melee carries like this, you just need some form of CC immunity, and a lot of these units, it's a lot of front-loaded damage, right? Titan's Resolve is kind of like the back-loaded, scale-up CC immunity item, and the QSS is the front-loaded, start hitting people and doing damage right at the start of combat item, and that's exactly what we want in a comp like this. Mace's Will is an interesting call out. I mean, it should be better in comps like this where you can actually use the crit onto your entire team. Using the crit onto both Ambessa and Gangplank will be nice, and then a little bit of crit onto the Belveth. We're probably not going to have spell crit onto her, but I mean, just a little bit of crit on her autos doesn't seem bad. Another glove here could be a TG here, which I also don't mind. I kind of don't hate the Mace's Will, but we'll see here. It really matters, how much he values the spell crit, or the crit chance in general, but I think you should value it pretty decently, and yeah, he does pick it up here. So a nice Mace's Will comp as well, which is another augment that, prior to this idea of playing this, I don't think many people were excited about Mace's Will. Make the TG here, get a Rabadon's Death Cap on our Draven, so that will be nice. I guess that probably makes his axes do a little bit more damage. I have not built an AP Draven ever, so I guess you throw Gwynsu's on him so he gets a little bit of AP that. I'm not actually sure what it gives. I'm thinking back to, like, I don't know why I'm like remembering the Gnar that gained AS for how much AP he had, the 1-cost Gnar. Oh, you guys remember Golden Edge Fast 9 Gnar? That was quite a set. I will say that was really fun, I mean, who doesn't like just randomly hitting a 1-cost and then just going fast 9, farming 1 trillion gold, having him, oh my god, okay, yeah. Enough reminiscing. And for the people who didn't play set 15, maybe for the best. If that was your first TFT set, I'm curious how you like this set, actually. If the only TFT sets you've ever played are 15 and 16, I'm sure there's somebody in the world who's watching this video who that's the case. Let me know how that experience has been for you. We see Ambessa off carousel here, so we just grab it. The rods, that's a tad bit awkward. We just have sword open here. I guess you could make a Gunblade if you have to. I mean, it doesn't actually sound that horrible, but we do just kind of need the Ambessa, and we do need to start spiking the board here. So we're going to level up here, going to play the Ambessa now, and yeah, we're actually going to roll a bit on 7 here just to try to stabilize the board a bit. Opts to sell this Twisted Fate off here because, this is much more of the future of the board. Get the Bruiser in, and yeah, we basically get the entire board in here. We don't have the Belveth yet, but I mean, totally fine to just play this board for now and start clearing people. Yeah, the GP doing a ton of work here, and we do end up making the Gunblade here just to spike our board. So this is the idea for the comp, is that, you're going to spike really hard on just a board like this. You can play it very nicely as just a standard level 8 tempo board, which it's not that common these days to have just a board like this that like you don't need an augment to play it. You don't need, though the Infinity Force, once we cash that out, is going to be really, really nice. But you don't need an augment. You don't need a specific like emblem or anything like that. You don't need a crazy, unit start or anything like that. You can just play it from anything. And I think this Infinity Force augment is a great reason to play it. But, if we did just have some generic augment to start with, you can do that as well. But here is the Infinity Force. This is just so nice to pick up here. Going to throw it onto the GP here and move some stuff down to the Belveth. Also, I think when I said we didn't have Belveth, we did have Belveth at that point. But I mean, all good, because like unless we were playing a different Slayer, unless we were still playing the Briar there. In any case, we have the Belveth right now. We also have Even Shroud here, which is just a beautiful slam in this spot here. Going to give us the armor shred that we need. Going to slam everything else onto GP and move the Gwynsu over to Belveth. She is, obviously the best holder. She really, really likes attack speed. So the Gwynsu is meant to be on her. And yeah, the board is up and functional. The thing about Infinity Protection is, you are usually going to lose early game. But once you hit this Infinity Force, I mean, this is almost, it's an augment and a half of value, the Infinity Force plus the, big shield on your entire front line. So you really do get quite strong with this. And especially in this spot here where we're double combat, our board's looking kind of crazy. And maybe we can even take triple combat here. I doubt it's obviously not glass cannon. That's going to be way too awkward. I kind of don't like Spirit Link that much. I don't know that Jeweled Lotus can be very good here. I'd probably just take exclusive customization and grab like a tank item here, but we will see what Mr. Iverson. Oh, Swordsmith is so good. I mean, yeah, just two full Swordsmith in general is just kind of an not statted, because it doesn't give stats, it gives items, but the power budget for this is just so high. The fact that you get two full items, 4 components out of a gold augment, most people rate this as one of the best gold augments in the game, and it's such a nice pickup here. We can move probably some of these GP items down and then throw some of these items onto the Belveth. We do pick the Ambessa too, which is huge here. We are, gonna move the... Oh yeah, actually, we're going to look at moving some items to Ambessa 2, and yep, the TG is going to move down. Yeah, this makes perfect sense because, the Ambessa 2 is a better unit than the GP here. And yeah, put the melee, like, tanky items onto Ambessa, and then the QSS is really, really nice on the Belveth. That AS is just so crazy on her, the Gwynsu, and the Gunblade as well. Yeah, I love this item distribution here. And we're still keeping Bilge in. You can just play Bilge this, the entirety of the game really for free. Don't have to even toggle up to something like 5 Bilge and look at items. You really can just use it to find the GP3. We have a dupe here. We have a GP in shop. The next dupe, which, actually, I think we used our other dupe, so I don't think we're getting another dupe, but still, this is 4 GPs right now, 5 with the dupe, 6 with the one in shop, and so we just need to find 3 more, and then boom, we're done. It's so easy, and the other thing is, like, you can just chill. We can just chill on 3 Bilge for a while. Don't even have to, like, send it down to roll for a GP3 or something like that. We can just chill, and eventually we'll have the GP3, and that'll allow us to cap out a lot higher than not having a GP3. So yeah, pick up another dub there. Do unlock the Melmedarda here, which I don't know that it's actually going to come onto the board here. That is a Belveth with sword. Yeah, I think you must take this here. This is so nice. Yeah, as far as Melmedarda goes, you're obviously just going to play the Ambessa, and you're obviously going to play the Swain. Like, those 2 units must stay on the board. So I guess the question is, would you ever cut, like, Scion? I think the answer is no. I think he's just, a pretty decent unit, and, getting Bruiser for your entire board, especially when it's a beefy board like this, feels really nice. So I think this makes sense here. Wasian actually goes for a very kind of deep stabilization role, but the idea is, we're 2 huge 4-cost pairs in that spot, right? We were Swain pair and the Belveth pair. So even though our board's very good, he still wants to stabilize this board, especially as well because this is a, a fast 8, spike really hard on 8s. And there's definitely stuff to add on 9. There's stuff like Fiddlesticks, which is so nice to play. We still don't have our Void in on this board, actually. Ooh, we even pick up Lucian Senna here. Oh, and there's the Belveth, too. That's huge. Wow, that's such a spike for our board. So, yeah, we are going to do this here. Pick up another GP, like we talked about. In an ideal world, by the way, you do want to split enemy frontline and backline. That's kind of why we have our frontline split like this. But yeah, you want to split like the enemy frontline so that you can wrap onto backline, kind of like the C's positioning that you would do in the past with stuff like Jace Caitlyn reroll, I guess, set 15. I'm trying to think this set of anything. I can't really... There's not a comp where we've really positioned like this. But you would really like to split frontline to allow your guys to run to the backline. There's just so many melee carries that, you really care about the backline access here. But yeah, at this point, I do think our dream should be to push level 9. Item-wise, we're running kind of low on slots. I want to finish some Swain items. We have no heal cut, right? So you almost... this is actually really tough. I feel like I would just make heal cut here because I need it, but we will see what we make here. And yeah, I mean, it's just so easy. Wow, that was such a quick GP3. But yeah, we opt to make the Sunfire Cape, and then I guess we're going to have to make... He's going to make IE, actually, throw it on backline here. I don't know. I was thinking of like Shojin just to get the Swain casting, but obviously it's not great. But yeah, I mean, the GP3 came out of nowhere, but I mean, that's just what happens in this comp. You just hit 1,000,000 copies in your build shops plus your dupes, and boom, I mean, there he is. And then we can move items over to him and carry him. So it's so nice. It's actually it's so nice to be able to do this. And then you can just start buying stats. Obviously, eventually, if you do unlock the Thomas Kench, you can play him over the Alawi. It's a little awkward because you're not... I mean, it's not awkward, but you're unlikely to get to Thomas Kench until the game's like going really, really late, just because you are very likely not playing more than 3 builds, 5 builds, just what you're going to play for most of the game. But I mean, who cares? I mean, you don't need a Tom Kench to win games. I mean, you can see here, we're just clearing people with this board. It's just light work. And yeah, I mean, this is just such a cool board. It's another nice little something to have in your back pocket if you end up in a spot where you want to play for melee carries. You have early, you know, melee item slams. You have like a Quicksilver or even a Gwinsu's onto it's some kind of early item carry, and your hope is that you're going to play towards Belveth later. You know, this is a really, really nice option. And once again, the GP for free. Also, this GP unit, not very contested, right? There's some players who are playing him in bilge, but usually they're pivoting out of GP later. They're selling him on, you know, end of stage 4, early stage 5, so you can even, you know, not get clogged by the people who are playing that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's such a nice setup. So going to carousel here, looking at, I would think Adaptive Helm here. I mean, Spirit Visage if you have to. The other guy is pretty good, the Fiddlesticks there, but can't pick up him. Do end up getting the Spirit Visage here, which is really, really nice. And yeah, going to, wow, actually really aggro level here just to get the Warden onto the board. I'm pretty surprised that we go for it because in my head, this doesn't really spike the board much. I really feel like we spiked the power level of the board by maybe 5%. But hey, maybe he thinks that 5% is going to swing the fight. It's certainly not impossible here. The Belveth, yeah, look at this Belveth with these items. Just boom, 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 boom. The GP also doing great damage. Yeah, GP 10k, Belveth, that was like, what, 8k? I mean, he's clearing everybody here. This was a lobby with Michael in it as well. I think Michael played. Oh, this was Yasuo Yone reroll from Michael. Oh, also somebody there playing the Shadow Isles comp and actually doing not too bad with it. Okay, cool to see. But yeah, I mean, your level 9 can just be 5 costs in this comp. Obviously, Fiddlesticks are great in on this board. I don't really care that much for the Braum, and the second we find a Fiddlesticks, I will replace him. The Lucian Senna, just a good in on any kind of board, especially AD boards with the armor shred that comes out of it. But I mean, really, just any kind of board, because the passive effect from Lucian Senna is really, really nice here. Pick up another win here. Michael takes a loss, so it's Michael, Fan the Chi-Chi, and us here. We do pick up Shiv. I don't think you fit Shiv on this board. I mean, actually, I guess you could. You drop the build stats is the only thing. I don't know if actually Shiv's better than losing all the build stats, especially as we buy more of them across the course of the game. There is the Fiddlesticks here, so we will roll down here, see if we find anything else. No Lucian Senna 2 just yet, but hey, maybe there's a chance. Do find Braum 2, and wow, he actually, interesting. Huh, okay. Good to know, actually. Gonna move also now TG over to Braum and just make real items, i.e. plus Sterox onto the Ambessa here. I mean, this makes perfect sense. Pretty surprised that he values the Braum this highly, but I guess he's just saying, I need more of a beefy frontline with this board. And ooh, this is actually a really close fight versus the Yone Yasuo board. Really close. We ended up losing to Michael here. This game was crazy for Michael. I actually watched this from his POV earlier on I streamed yesterday and I watched it, and he took the gold gen Ionia and then just kind of cleared everybody. Yeah, this is, I'm kind of surprised by his pro. I mean, now that we have Braum 2, I think it makes a bit more sense. I'm still a little bit surprised though, but okay. I mean, he just really values having that extra frontline from the Braum over something like, I mean, he did end up fitting the Fiddle over the Lucian Senna, but I'm almost surprised that Lucian Senna is better than Braum. Do pick up a win here, which is really, really nice. This is essentially going to guarantee us a top 2 at least, and we're going to keep rolling down here, hoping that we can pick something up here. I mean, there's so much stuff left to find in this fight. I mean, I feel like Fiddle must go on the board. Just the 3 Vanquisher is is never bad. And you have the extra spell crit onto Fiddle from the Mace's Will, so it's not even bad in that regard. I mean, Fiddle's just a great unit. I do think most people actually like putting Fiddle on the front edge, like the A1 or the A7 positioning, so that Fiddle can blink into backline on the first cast and Sun backline, but we're not actually doing that here. I think just because we're maybe... I mean, it's kind of awkward with all these melee units, right? You can only have so many melee units in the front corner here, and you need to have tanks next to them so people don't aggro onto them. Guardbreaker's such a good item in this comp. And I guess it's just going to finish out our Ambessa items, right? You could maybe move something over to the... Like, we could move GP items over, I guess. But yeah, honestly, I think this setup looks pretty nice to me. We do finally get the TK unlocked at 6-5. So yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath for unlocking TK in this comp. But hey, I mean, 6-5 is better than not having it. Ooh, we get... Our ankle's broken by Michael here. He swaps the Yasuo over to this side. And the crazy thing is this Yasuo guy with all of this gold stacked up plus the Yone, I mean, he just kind of clears us here. We do get our top 2 at least, and we are going to roll down here, trying to pick up some kind of upgrade. Don't really see anything all that good, so... We're going to feed the fish one more time, and this is going to be our last fight here. Only 23 bilge serpents, so we cannot pick up anything as far as, you know, upgrades. But, oh my god, yeah, the Yasuo on the same side again, which is so bad for us. I mean, Yasuo ends up going middle, so Belveth can do good damage. But, yeah, here, the Yasuo aggro's there, and we just don't have enough frontline for this board. This Yasuo Yone board, which actually just clears. I might do a VOD review of this as well, just because this comp. I did a VOD review last patch, before Paris even, so that was a while ago, but I do think it's gotten a lot better since then with the changes to it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check my Twitch, my Metafy, all my links down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching as always.